Hey guys, today I'm going to be making a Christmas trifle and bringing you along for the ride. Christmas trifle is one of my absolute favorite childhood desserts, and it's a really easy spin on a regular chocolate cake. I can't wait to show all of you my favorite dessert. So let's begin. First, I need to preheat the oven to 350. The preheat should be done within 10 to 15 minutes, which means I have 10 to 15 minutes to put together the mix for the cake. First, I'm going to put in the entire bag of Pillsbury chocolate cake mix. Next, I'm going to pour in 1 cup of water. Next, we have vegetable oil, and we're going to need half a cup. I always struggle with cracking eggs, so wish me luck. I have to crack 3 of them. Success! Next, I'm going to pour the eggs inside the mixture. And now it's time for my favorite part, which is mixing it all together. It's good to mix it until it's running off of the whisk a little bit and it's smooth. Now that the mixture is running, it's time to put it in the glass pan to bake. So typically it's good to put grease, nonstick spray, or flour on the pan so that the chocolate cake doesn't stick. However, I only have vegetable oil with me today, so I'm going to be dabbing a little bit on my paper towel. Once I soak my paper towel well enough, I'm going to be spreading it across the pan. You have to coat the entire bottom of the pan, but don't let a pool develop or else you have too much oil in there. Now that my pan is oiled, it's time to put in the mixture. So sometimes a whisk doesn't quite get all of the leftover mixture. So I'm going to be using a hard-edged spatula to finish off the rest of the mixture. Now that the mixture is smoothed out, it's time to put it in the oven. So now that the cake is baking, it's time to make the pudding layer. All you need is 2 boxes of 3.9 ounce Jello pudding. 1 box just needs 2 cups of milk. So for 2 boxes, I'm going to be using 4 cups of milk. Now that I have 2 boxes of Jello pudding mix poured in, I'm going to add the 4 cups of milk. So now that I finished pouring in the 4 cups of milk, it's time to mix it all together. It's really that easy. Now it's time to put the pudding in the fridge and let it set. So now that the pudding is cooling, there's 11 minutes left on the clock for the cake. So I'm going to bring you guys on a brief intermission and show you all of my magnets that I've collected from my travels over the past couple of years. This is my handmade magnet from Oaxaca, Mexico. I love the handmade artwork that they do down in Oaxaca, and one of my most cherished memories is getting to go down there in 2018 for New Year's for a school trip and getting to study and document village life in Mexico. These are my glass Slovene magnets. Slovene is a really cute town that I went to in California on my first time ever out west. And I absolutely adored that town because it was like stepping in a little piece of the Netherlands or Denmark. And even though I've never been to Europe, it felt like I was transported to Europe for a day. This is my redwood tree magnet. And this is my Sequoia National Park magnet. Look how tiny the car is compared to the trees. This is my Asatog Island National Seashore magnet. At Asatog Island, wild horses roam free. I got to see several of them, including foals, during my anniversary trip with Nick this past year. This is my Lower Antelope Canyon magnet. Lower Antelope Canyon was out of this world. Growing up in Massachusetts, I felt like it was so cool to experience such orange land out in Utah and Arizona. This is my Crested Butte, Colorado magnet. Crested Butte is probably one of the top favorite places I've ever traveled. I really hope I get to go back someday. It felt like a little piece of Switzerland if I had to imagine what Switzerland is like. And Switzerland is probably one of the #1 countries on my bucket list to visit. So I'm not surprised that I absolutely loved Crested Butte. This is my San Francisco magnet. It wasn't one of my favorite places to visit. I went during the 4th of July, and unfortunately it was 50 degrees and cold and gray outside and raining. But the magnet was super pretty, so I decided to get it anyways. This is my Great Smoky Mountains magnet. Right before the terrible storms happened in North Carolina and Tennessee earlier this fall, I was able to do a road trip from Asheville, North Carolina to Nashville, Tennessee. Unfortunately, the very roads that I traveled on the Blue Ridge Parkway are now incredibly damaged, which breaks my heart. Because the scenery was beautiful, and Great Smoky National Park is where I finally got to see a wild black bear for the first time in my life, which was a huge item on my bucket list. Not to mention that Tennessee and North Carolina are filled with some of the best waterfalls in all of America. This is my La Jolla, California magnet. In La Jolla, California, I was able to swim in the Pacific Ocean for the first time ever, and not only that, but I was also able to swim with wild sea lions, which was an out-of-this-world experience. And that's just a few of my several travel magnets. In the future, stay tuned if you're interested in travel because I might be showing you some of my travel footage from the past in 2025, as well as some upcoming trips in my future. And with that being said, it's time to go check on the cake. Hey guys, it's the next day and I let the pudding set overnight and let the cake cool overnight, and now it's time to assemble the Christmas trifle. The only extra ingredients needed today, in addition to the pudding and cake, are Coolwhip, sprinkles, and peanut-free M&Ms. This is because Nick has a family member who's allergic to peanuts, but a lot of people do Heath bars or other kinds of candy, and the garnishes are always up to you and your family and what candy you prefer. So let's get started with putting in the base. I like to fill the entire bottom of the bowl with cake, but I also only want to use half of the cake for the first layer because it's good to get 2 layers full of cake, pudding, and Cool Whip. Now that we have the first layer of cake, it's time to add the first layer of pudding. I'm also going to use only half of the pudding so that I can save the next half for the next layer. Now that I put about half of the pudding on top of the cake, I'm going to add a layer of Cool Whip. So that's a lot of Cool Whip that I just added, and it's about half of a container that I just used. and it's covering almost all of the entire base. I'm gonna add just a little more to the spot that I missed, and then I'll be ready to add the rest of the cake. Before I add the rest of the cake, I'm going to add a little bit of mid-layer garnishes. Like I said before, this can be almost anything you want. It could be strawberries, it could be blueberries, it could be sprinkles, it could be different types of candy. Today I'm going to be using sprinkles, and I'm going to be using peanut-free M&Ms. Now it's time to add the next layer. Hopefully it all fits. This trifle might go over the bowl, so I'm going to smush it down. So now that the rest of the cake is smushed on top, I'm going to begin my second layer by adding the rest of the pudding. And if I have a little bit of leftover, that's okay, because I don't mind a free taste before the holiday party. I fit it all, yay! Now it's time to add the rest of the Coolwhip on top. It's also really fun to do this in a clear bowl so that you can see all of the layers. And if it looks messy along the way, that's okay, because it doesn't need to look cute until you add the garnishes on top. And now that I've covered the entire top of the dish with Coolwhip, I'm going to add my final layer of garnishes, and then my Christmas trifle is going to be complete for this holiday season. And just like that, the Christmas trifle is done for Christmas 2024. Thanks for watching, and check out the description below for the recipe. And don't forget to comment below what your favorite Christmas dessert is. And I'll see you in the next vlog. Bye!